rewards links, Lightning denominated rewards links with Nostr Wallet Connect. And so that's what I'll get into after the top stories. Not a ton of stories this week, so it should be a little quicker reading through these, but you know, I'll take some time on the interesting ones because it's been kind of a crazy week. So sweet. I feel like music is a bit loud here, so I'm gonna drop this a hair. Okay, cool. All right, let's start from the top here. From Koob, what's something you made only for yourself? So this is the top post for this past week. So in this item, still stacking it after all these years, shared an article by Robert Sloan about a chat app he built exclusively for his family. The product Sloan made could scale, but some of the simplicity and scarceness would be lost. There's something really romantic about it. A few folks shared some of their home-cooked apps in that thread. So Read.io built a MAC address triggered song to play for a colleague. That's cool. Elvis Mercury DOSed his friend's phone number. Okay, I have a few stories about that. We Are All Satoshi made a companion app to play Clue. Okay, that's interesting. Signal 312 hacked a Notepad++ to replace online note-taking apps. That's really cool. Koob, I made my college girlfriend a Bruce tracking app. Wow, TMI. South Korea LN built a task manager. Nice. So what's something you made only for yourself? This is a really cool question, which is why I think a lot of people zapped it and commented on it. Sorry, I'm still cracking up a little bit. Okay, so a lot of comments here. But so these are really let's just talk about the idea of like making something only for yourself. I did a post forever ago called "How to Get Your First Developer Position," something like that. Let me look through here. All posts. Some tips for landing your first developer job. Oh no, I typed out a comment here. I never sent it. Wow, that's crazy. It's saved in my cache. From Elvis. Okay, I'll just leave that comment. I actually want to do a full video on this post that I made sometime. I've talked about these things before, but I kind of just like combine all these different concepts of, I guess, what I learned landing my first developer job into this post. But one thing I talk about is, so these are the 4 things you need to focus on: history of work, resume, portfolio, job hunt system. So in history of work, it's a big topic because this is basically your body of work. But one of the most important things is side projects. So create side projects that solve some kind of problem for yourself or someone else. The more niche, specific, unique, the better. If you are able to get any users for this project, that is the best case scenario. Be sure to make it clear your project has users on your portfolio. Yeah, so oftentimes, like especially when you're newer, you want to make something that works and something that solves a problem because it's one of the best ways to stand out. And the more niche, specific, unique it is, the more likely it is you're not just remaking like a to-do app or something that people have done a million times. And so I kind of thought of like the side project archetype when I was reading this post. You know, something that you made that was cool. You really made it for yourself, but it's also, I mean, maybe a way to stand out as well. And I don't want to conflate the two things. I guess what Koob is saying here, it's romantic. What's romantic about it is the fact that it's something you made for yourself and not for someone else. So don't let me conflate those two ideas, but I definitely thought about that as I was reading through this. And so those are a lot of, like, for me, a lot of my side projects were things that I made to stand out, but they were also things that I focused on for solving my own problem. And so an example might be like, there's someone in Plebdevs that made like a piggy bank Ellen Bits wallet for his kids, right? So that's a very specific and cool idea, and it's something that he can kind of show off and take experience from. Another example, like you might make like a character creator for D&D or something, in JavaScript, or something to track. Maybe you watch esports, something to track like esports stats online. Something really, really specific. Like those are some of the coolest projects. Okay, so let's get into the comments here. Gray Ruby said, unrelated, but last summer my daughter and I made a rock garden underneath one of our down spouts on our house. Now when it rains, you can watch the water flow down over the rocks. Definitely a pleb water feature. Sweet. IRL meet space side project there. LOL, I DOSed a family member's phone as a prank as well. Elvis Mercury referring to this. Okay, so back in the day, I used to have a flip phone. Not even a flip phone. It was a Nokia. It was like one of those Nokia phones that's like you couldn't break it if you wanted to. Like I could shoot baskets with my phone. And so I had this phone. It was super slow. And what my friends figured out they could do to prank me is they would send me the entire Declaration of Independence over SMS. And because my phone was so slow and it received SMS messages in chunks, my phone would be just like buzzing nonstop for 45 minutes. And so they called it the declaration attack, or they would say like, you would say like, oh, I just got declarated. But that only worked because it was like a super old phone, and you couldn't really stop someone from sending you this giant piece of text that would be chunked up. And so it would like buzz for 45 minutes and when I was in school. So that is how I've been DOSed on my phone before. Satsura, I made a notebook the other day. I actually went to an art store and bought very nice quality paper, folded each sheet and sewed them together. We'll give it to your friend so he can journal when he leaves for Seattle. Nice. My wife loves making custom notebooks and art books and stuff like that. I love people are sharing definitely more than their coding projects here. Keptford, built my standing desk I use every day in my office. Built a digital sign to let my family know when I was on a call back when I had a ton of work calls from home. That's cool. Something IRL I built was a bookshelf for myself when I was on college break one time. The one semester or 2 semesters I was in college. I made a Twitter bot to attract followers back in 2015 to replace the semi-automated process I began in 2013. Boo. What's your follower count at now? 23,317. The bot's been banned since almost a year, but I'm still getting new followers each week. What kind of Twitter bot do you make to attract followers? To like a different account? I built my own StackerNews client for Android from Felipe. I still use it, but pagination load more is currently broken. I'll fix it this week. I also need to add a territory selector. This is really cool. I think I've seen this before. Stacker_news from Felipe Bueno. Unofficial cross-platform StackerNews app written in Flutter. Sweet. I started this project as a Hacker News app in the beginning of 2020 to learn the block pattern. I still maintain the HN app, but now I'm focusing on Stacker News. The code is really hacky and fragile, but it mostly works. I'll be slowly refactoring code to make it more robust and easier to maintain. Nice. So this is kind of crazy. I mean, there's a lot to implement with Stacker News. So, I mean, the fact that you did it in Dart and Flutter here, like, that is a lot to re-implement. I mean, it's nice that it's already done, but that's a ton of work. So shout out, but man, a cool project to like stand out with, and seems like something he just made because he was curious and wanted to learn this pattern more. I don't know what the block pattern is, but was also just a fan of Stacker News. So that's awesome. Gotta give that a zap. I already zapped this post. Let's zap some people along the way. Gray Ruby, Kepford, Satsura, let's go. Sweet. I also built a Hacker News client, which was the base for the SN client. It's still working well after many years. Okay, that's interesting. So we started with just like a plain Hacker News clone and adopted it to StackerNews. It was removed from the Play Store a few years ago because of copyright issues. I also removed the source from GitHub because I intended to make it a paid app at some point. The legend EK. When I got into crypto, I started to write my own password manager with Python. I called it MyPass. Good name. And it had a TUI with in curses. I don't know what that means. I thought it was okay to write my own password manager because I didn't intend to roll my own crypto. I stopped because I never used it myself because there's always something missing before I would use it. Nowadays, I just self-host with Bitwarden and CLI is still horrible. I also tried to write my own MyFitnessPal app without bloat. When I got into the other crypto, I started to write my own coin tracker. Turns out I never made anything that I actually used. Nice. This is definitely the case for me. When I was reading this, I was thinking of a bunch of projects that I had started, but a lot of them I didn't finish. Especially the ones I was doing for like myself, which is sort of sad, I guess. I guess getting a job and making money kind of took first priority. But yeah, something I did early on and I never finished. Let's see if it's still here in my repos. It was called Question Me. Question. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Question Me. Yeah. And so this was going to be a yeah, there's hardly anything here. I thought I had more code at some point, but anyway, maybe I deleted it. But it was going to be like basically an automated email bot that would send me a new question every day. Just like a really like philosophical question, and I would like respond to it when I wanted to or would not respond to it. And it would save those questions. And it would kind of be like a journal that showed up in my email, but not like a regular journal, like a journal that asks you like really big philosophical questions. So that was one of my projects I never finished for myself. Not a software developer, but I am a carpenter and had built for our own use various storage boxes, shelves, even 2 high chairs for my kids over the years. Fun one when my older son injured his left ankle at the playground last year. I built a makeshift knee scooter out of some scrap wood and all 4 directional wheels. Both my sons are still using it as a scooter to speed around the house to this day. Nice. This is my post here. I put Austin's Game of Life for sale. Built this as soon as I had the skills to. Have been obsessed with cellular automata since I was 12 for some reason. So this is what I put here. It's just a Game of Life simulator. If you've ever heard of Conway's Game of Life, the rules are right here. Really strange UI choices for me. I built this like 5 years ago, so I don't remember what I was thinking. But yeah, so you can step through each generation. I ended up in a static state. And then I can edit it, and I can just start it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's pretty simple rules to implement. It was just like building the grid was kind of the hardest part. But that was fun. Something I should have put, though, which would have been a better answer, is my original first like side project that I was really passionate about was FB Explorer. Let me find out my repositories. And I did definitely build this for myself, but I also wanted other people to try it. FB-Explorer. Here we go. I wonder if it's still live. No, it's not live anymore. Terrible. Okay. Yeah, but it was basically it's a web app that allows users to log into Facebook, download their data, drop it in, and explore it in native HTML format. And so it basically was like a private way to download, a private and easy way to get all your Facebook data and then explore it locally. So I was like really interested in grabbing all my data from social media and like storing it. So that's kind of why I started to build this app. So sad that it's not up anymore though. Maybe it's in my Vercel. I have so many projects here. No, I must have undeployed it. Oh no, wait, here it is. Last deployment was 747 days ago. Damn. Maybe it's still live on this URL. Oh, it is. Sweet. Okay, so here's what it was. So FB Explorer lets you reclaim, search, and explore all your Facebook data. Nice. So you log into Facebook, download your data, and like this is how I did it. You have like, I had to give you instructions at first. I built a later version that was a bit more automated, and then you drop your data in and you can explore it. So it was pretty fun. Nice, but this is something I definitely built for myself. It was my first real side project, and I got a few users to try it out. So that was something I definitely bragged about back in the day. Jason B, legendary Plebdev. I made these about a month or so ago with the skills from taking your front-end course. It's fun to move around, drive around in the case of the board game themed one, and protect the static pieces from the shooters. Oh, look at this. Conway's Game of Life with a twist. Conway-S-Life. Okay, I'm excited to look at these. The philosophical implications of Conway's game are so intriguing. I first encountered the fine-tuning argument, although I don't think it's named as such in the book, and Dawkins' climbing Mount Improbable. Ironically, that book and his beautiful explanation of it was really instrumental in leading me to theism in my early 20s. Yeah, Bitcoin plebs are just, they're too smart. They're smarter than me a lot of times. But that's cool. Okay, let's check your game out, Jason. Whoa, use the arrow keys to disrupt the game of life. Okay, let's zoom in. Can I zoom in? Ooh, it's moving slow. Okay. Oh, look, so we are this white dot in the middle, and I can move it across the cells, and it like acts as an invincible cell. That's really cool. So you can disrupt the other ones and see what happens. Wow. Very cool idea, Jason. Man, talk about a niche idea, right? You take something that's already niche and you like put your own unique twist on it. Okay, good lord, Jason, you're about to crash my browser. We gotta, I don't know if you're storing all of the graph states in state or memory or something, but no, that's awesome. Okay, let's check this one out. Use the arrow keys to play Conway's Game of Life. Whoa. I don't understand. Am I supposed to get in? I don't understand how I win. There's no instructions. Use the arrow keys to play Conway's Game of Life. Okay, well, good job, Jason. I don't totally understand the second one, but that's awesome. This Jason is the perfect example of someone that does this. He's shown me probably 10 just the most random like little websites and games and reskins and stuff like that. Just builds for fun. So that is the profile of someone who's definitely going to make it. Have you read A New Kind of Science? I read parts of it a long time ago, but Wolfram feels pretty strongly about this. Okay, so just more cellular automata stuff. Man, a lot of comments here. Okay. Lumor made a timer app with full screen start-stop touch area for Wim Hof breathing exercises. Okay, based. Hitting the small circle on the built-in app was lowering the precision of my breath hold time measurements. Wow. Got cold after a few weeks and never really got back into it. A few months later, my iPhone 6 died. Got the suspension that maybe my app was somehow always running in the background, wearing it out. Didn't let the Apple Store guys in on my suspicion when I went to replace it. iOS was probably already killing background apps by then, but I'm still not sure. Damn, that's scary. I haven't really, I've done a lot of native development, but I haven't released a lot of native apps, but that's like a terrifying thought that you have like just a tiny memory leak that keeps your app open. It just like kills the phone slowly. This is a cool idea though, but that's crazy. So hitting the small circle on the built-in app was lowering the precision of my breath hold. This guy is a gamer. Okay, cool app, Wilmer. No stranger. A deterministic password manager, PWA. Okay. That stands for progressive web app, if you don't know. A progressive web app client for MiniFlux, which is a cool self-hosted RSS feed reader. That's pretty cool. I want to do more RSS stuff. RSS is an overlooked open protocol. A very cool one. A CLI habit tracker for tracking burnt calories and water drink daily. A CLI file-based note-taking app for work and myself. Do you all want to take notes in a CLI? Some people love CLI apps for note-taking and like, I don't know, task management stuff. We have a friend here in Plebdevs who's telling me he built like a time-keeping app, a CLI app for his contracting work. And I was like, man, why don't you just use the built-in timer? But that's cool. That's cool. A TTS PWA for when I couldn't talk for a while after tooth surgery. Whoa, TTS, so text to speech. That's crazy. A digital version of a board game for playing with my family. Nice. A retro gaming setup. Also wrote about it here. Nice, like a custom Raspberry Pi 3, Android phone, Linux desktop. Whoa. Retro gaming setup with retro art. Some years ago, I bought Raspberry Pi 3 to play retro games through Laka. Had my own share of fun until the SD card said goodbye. To avoid the tragic event from happening again, I thought of a way to not only ensure my data would be safe, but to have them playable everywhere without having to start again or having parallel run on another device. That's crazy. That's really cool. What is Laka? The open source game console. I know a lot of people do Raspberry Pis for retro gaming. I've never tried it though. We should get one here at the lab though. That would be really cool. Okay, sweet. Legendary lineup, no stranger. I can tell you're definitely a hacker. 0x Bitcoiner. A few years ago, I started developing a bot for online poker. I managed to do the hardest part, which is recognize the cards on the screen. And then I stopped because I didn't feel like developing the rest. Bots are forbidden. Oh, bots are forbidden. Okay. Yeah, you read the cards, but what is the algorithm you use for determining how you play? I guess that problem's been solved though. Like, someone's got to have like what's the most I guess it's context dependent, but there's got to be some like algorithm for creating probabilities with like a poker game, like a digital poker game. That's actually a really cool idea. But it makes sense bots are forbidden. I wouldn't want to play actually, maybe I would want to play poker against a bunch of bots, because I'm pretty bad at poker, so I might be able to trick them. Okay, I have to ask, was a Bruce tracking app, Coop? Yeah, I feel like there's an indie film lurking in this offhand remark. She wanted to take pictures of her bruises. I was churning out apps at that point, and I wanted more practice, so I asked her for a request, and that's what she said. it was just an Instagram like app for her to take pictures of her bruises, like a timeline of bruises as I remember it. Okay, nice. Okay, that was a fun thread. But yeah, something you build for yourself. It's cool. So that was the top story for the week. Let's get into the next one here from Nerd to Ninja. Good UX versus beginner-friendly design. Okay, this one is big. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what we can get out of this. All right, user experience, UX, is how a user interacts with and experiences a product, system, or service. It includes a person's perceptions of utility, ease of use, and efficiency. Improving user experience is important to most companies, designers, and creators when creating and refining products because negative user experiences can diminish the use of the product and therefore any desired positive impacts. Conversely, designing towards profitability as a main objective often conflicts with ethical user experience objectives and even causes harm. User experience is subjective, however, the attributes that make up the user experience are objective. Wow, okay. Last year, I wrote a not very long at all article about what makes something good UX. The main feature was actually just to link to a video about how people who don't play video games learn how to play video games. And in that video, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was preferred by beginners because of its natural tutorials. They guide the user into understanding how to do something when the context for it applies, showing how to pick up a stick when the character is next to a stick. This may have given the impression that this game had good UX, but in a comment in that thread, I posted another video that details how the button layout associations confuse an experienced user. Why did I throw my weapon when I was trying to use Ultra Hand? So this article is dedicated to things that have great UX and terrible built-in tutorials or none at all, and therefore are not beginner-friendly. By dedicated, of course, I mean I have 3 examples. If you have more, feel free to share them. Okay, I need to read that again. So this article is dedicated to things that have great UX and terrible built-in tutorials, or none at all, and therefore are not beginner-friendly. Okay. That's interesting. Oh my gosh. I didn't even read this. I swear to God, I did not even read this. But I was just thinking in my head, like, this sounds like Vim. This sounds like Vim. How did I... Okay. Oh my God. Okay, Vim. This may feel like I'm starting out strong, but actually this article is inspired by another article that makes this exact point. Vim is not only about speed. Vim is not beginner-friendly. This is pretty much common sense, but there are other aspects of the user experience that, in my perception, make Vim an amazing experience for advanced users that other tools don't even come close to. So in case you don't know what Vim is just a terminal-based, a terminal environment and code editor that is, for more advanced users. It has different key bindings than your regular terminal, but allows you to travel across different terminal instances very quickly, spin up files very quickly, and then navigate across the file and move lines in ways that you can't do in normal text editors. And yeah, definitely not beginner friendly. And often what would be intuitive to a beginner can be slow or bothersome to an experienced user. I see. So there's this kind of conflict here, like what is good UX if you're a beginner versus if you are someone who's already experienced. So good UX for a beginner who needs to type in a text editor is horrible. Shitty UX for someone who needs to append the same word or character to the start of 60 lines because they're a programmer. That is a good point. With comments such as, I don't think I don't even think of the shortcuts. I just think about what I want to do and I just do them. Any gamer knows how this feels. No gamer thinks X, Y, Y, left bumper. They just think jump over ground, attack, 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 block, and not even that really. Yeah, that's a good point. And on like the Legend of Zelda thing, it's kind of interesting. I've been probably like a lot of gamer husbands. I've been playing through the new Zelda with my wife, not super recently, but we had. And so like me, obviously super experienced pro gamer, my wife not as much, and so we're like learning the controls together. And for me, it's actually weirdly one of the hardest games to control, just because there's yeah, like the ultra hand, like using your special abilities and just the way that it's mapped to the controller, it just kind of conflicts with your muscle memory. But yeah, I mean, despite it being a super complex game with a lot of systems, like I find that my wife picks it up pretty fast. So that is a good example. I didn't know they did a study on that. That's kind of fascinating. Okay, so Vim is our first example of good UX, but bad for beginners. Hyperland. I've never heard of this. Okay, I didn't write this to flex my NixOS Hyperland install. Okay, so NixOS. It's not even very well configured, LOL. But when it is configured, it's the best UX ever. It's not even stuff you couldn't do on Cinnamon Mate Windows, but just the way it uses things like alternate desktops and window switching, and just puts them the way you would put them on other systems in the first place, with the option of free float windows and not just default behavior. Just makes it so good. Other desktops are actually cumbersome to use in comparison as a result. So is this like a GUI or like a, like what do they call it, like GNOME or something like that? I'm gonna watch this video. Let me pause this. Okay. So it is a desktop environment.
Yeah, Vic said he want that blue collar rap. Man, how I'm supposed to bring that blue collar back? I guess Groggs is Fonte and I am early A. Cause I ain't Big Pooh, man, that nigga kinda lame, yo. Had a nappy, had a nigga on a payroll. Had an S on his chest, it's the Muppets. I can't wait till I can get to stunting. Get a Tesla, take it to West Coast Customs. Nothing. Me and my niggas get it jumping. They asking for a brother at the door like Lauren London in front. We've been on something. They just hella mad cause the kid been buzzing. What you know about a young nigga like this, yo? What you know about a young nigga like this, yo?
Okay, so a desktop GUI environment. That looks cool though. I mean, I kind of couldn't tell what he was doing. Let me look at Hyperland. Hyperland with no E. Tiling compositor with the looks. Wow. That's a new one, a tiling compositor. Hyperland provides the latest Wayland features, dynamic tiling, all the eye candy powerful plugins, and much more. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I feel like I would be into this, but yeah, when it comes to the configuration, I end up just not caring. And I'm just used to like using Mac. And like even how I use Mac, like something I do, like I don't do full screen on Mac ever. I always have Windows, so I can just like slide up like that. And then you can always tile to the left or right or whatever. So it's like, that's my good UX. That's my preferred UX. Okay, so Hyperland. Kind of seems like, yeah, same thing. Good UX, difficult setup. Vim, Hyperland, and Bitcoin Core, it looks like here, is his final example. Look at that beautiful UI from Bitcoin Core. Oh my gosh. Don't we love that? Default button styles. Yeah. Okay, Bitcoin Core, which usually looks like a Windows 95 program, looks kind of modern on Hyperland. What isn't shown And this Hyperland demo video is how if you want to set up another program to share the same screen space as the program you're working on. And you know normally you have to drag it to the edge of the screen, all of this. On Hyperlane, you hover your mouse over the program, hit supermod, aka the Windows key, blah, blah, blah. And bam, it's on the same screen as the other app and out of the other app's way. Okay. That's not 3 examples. This is 2 examples, right? I have 3 examples. Vim and Hyperland. Okay, but I agree, the Bitcoin Core. Bitcoin Core, yeah, I mean, if you're a beginner, definitely don't know what you're looking at. But as an experienced user, like I find myself returning to Core and I just know what I need to do immediately. But very cool write-up. Nerd to Ninja. You deserve some more zaps on this. I'm going to give you some more zaps. Hella zaps. And yeah, Signal 312. For any discussions of user interface, I got to throw this book in there. Don't Make Me Think. I've heard about this book. It's a standout, short but amazing read on usability testing. The title encapsulates the gist of the book. Nice. I love it when the title of a book is also like basically the thesis of the book. Okay, so that was a really cool write-up from Nerd to Ninja. Thank you, my friend. Go back here, and I need to check my phone, which is also my camera, because it said it's about to die, but it should be plugged in, so just 1 sec. Okay, we're charging again, I think. I had to like, oh my gosh, stretch a cord across the whole room. Okay, that should be good. All right, onward. It's time to retire the term user. From Choke 1. Story from Technology Review. He put the blurb in here for me. Thank you. I don't want to have to read the whole article, but we'll maybe look at it. So people have been called users for a long time. It's a practical shorthand enforced by executives, founders, operators, engineers, and investors ad infinitum. Often it is the right word to describe people who use software. A user is more than just a customer or a consumer. Sometimes a user isn't even a person. Corporate bots are known to run accounts on Instagram and other social media platforms, for example, but users is also unspecific enough to refer to just about everyone. Okay, so what is the proposed replacement? People love saying, like, let's stop using this word and use this word. It's like, well, how are you going to get people to do that unless they think it's a better idea themselves? Defaulting to people. So that's a suggestion. People. Okay. I recently met with a founder who cringed when his colleagues used the word humans instead of users. He wasn't sure why. That's kind of funny. I mean, that's a sort of a weird thing to say, like, hello, fellow humans. Like, who's gonna say that anyway? But users is a weird thing to say. Like, I mean, I guess it just depends on the context. I don't know. This doesn't seem that interesting to me. Let's see what the people say. What do the people say? I think I first heard someone complaining about the term user maybe 15 years ago. Sometimes a user isn't even a person. Corporate bots are known to run accounts on Instagram. Yeah. So maybe the term user needs to not only refer to humans. When I first heard objections, they were more centered around making it sound like they were drug users. Yeah, I've heard that. The reality is we're learning that user is a pretty good label. Over the years, it has occurred to me that many users behave like bots. Users that are indeed humans. What I mean is that they are behaving in very predictable and unnatural ways. Way a human in real life would not behave. So maybe user is the right term after all. I don't know. You know what term this reminds me of is a term from economics. Economics, rational agent, rational actor. The rational actor. Rational actors form the basis of rational choice theory. Rational choice theory assumes that individuals, or rational actors, try to actively maximize their advantage in any situation and therefore consistently try to minimize their losses. Have you ever heard anything so retarded? People are not, there are rational actors, that's true. It's just, it's funny, like how I learned about this concept is that like, this is how economists, at least Keynesian economists, they model behavior, assuming that people are going to act rational. I mean, you just can't even. But that is a good point, and that's kind of a good parallel. User is like a rational actor, except really the opposite, because you expect a user to be dumb, and a lot of times you're building for, I guess except for our last example, you're building for the lowest common denominator. So that is an interesting point. I think user conveys the right amount of information for its current use. Perhaps end user would be more appropriate. I've heard that as well. I guess end user would kind of be like the person that you're building this for. Should they be called operators or clients or something similar? Yeah, that's interesting. I've never liked the term user either. It's always sounded kind of inhumane to me, says Koob. Yeah, I mean, that's why, you know, you have a community and you give them their own name, like the Stackers, right? The Stackers. We don't need to, on StackerNews, you don't need to call them a user. You can call them a stacker. I mean, in Plebdevs, I just call the people that engage with my content and talk to me and all of that, I call them Plebdevs. I call myself a Plebdev. Are those my users? That does kind of sound weird to say. You are my user. User reminds me of the term used in Tron. Anyone watch the first one? I haven't seen the first Tron. I probably should. User is 4 letters, which is pretty handy when you're writing it a lot in your code. That is a very good kind of left side of the bell curve point. Like, I don't want to call like operators. Like, I'm going to get that mixed up with a bunch of other shit. Or clients. Operators or clients, those would be terrible in the coding context. Okay, my first reaction is who cares, but the crux of the argument is that we're lumping human users and bots and all sorts of other interactions in the same metric. I agree that there should be a distinction to the extent that it's possible to separate and identify them. It's interesting, even though this word is also being bastardized currently, the term agent, referring to really what is normally a bot, it's something that's kind of overused, but like, you know, that could be, you could have users and agents, right? And the agents are just the programs or whatever that are interacting with your product. Like, I don't know. T Magioni, hey man, thanks for your content. I was searching for something like this. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Check out Plebdevs YouTube. We have, there's a ton of content on there, and I hope it's valuable, so thanks. What was I saying though? Agents, yeah. So I would like that term, like agents, like, and maybe you have a flow for how agents would interact with your product. Maybe you would have a flow for how users, aka real human beings, supposedly, would interact with your product. I mean, if that's the main point, as Simple Stacker is saying, thank you. If that's the main point, then I don't know. I guess that kind of makes sense. But generally, it's just labels for me, so it doesn't mean that much. But okay, thank you for posting that story, Choke. Interesting discussion. Next up, Plebdevs workshop, Voltage and Mutiny Net. This was a workshop I did on Saturday about the new free Mutiny Net nodes that you get on Voltage and how to build a Lightning app with them. Some people got confused with this, and I should have specified further, but in case you don't know, Mutiny Net, it's just another testnet for Bitcoin. Specifically, it's what's called a SIGNet, and it's a testnet for Bitcoin that's made for developers. It's made to be a little more friendly and easier to use than the traditional testnet, right? So that's what Mutiny Net is. But then Voltage has just launched the feature of, let's go to voltage.cloud, maybe in their blog. Yeah. So Voltage just launched a free Mutiny Net nodes that you can spin up for development. Right. So this is just a huge deal, and it's why I did a workshop about this, because traditionally Voltage, you want to spin up a node, you need to pay for it. It's still a very good product, a very good deal, but you know, you're not going to do, if you're a dev like me, you're not going to do that until you're going into production. But now with Mutiny Net and with these free Mutiny Net nodes, you just need an email sign up, and you can spin up, I believe, up to 3 Mutiny Net nodes and start developing with Mutiny. And so this solves a huge problem with kind of getting the development environment set up for building Lightning apps. So that was mainly kind of, I guess, the problem and the audience I wanted to address in this video. And so yeah, it was pretty fun. We built like a Lightning node dashboard / wallet, and we actually connected 2 Mutiny nodes to each other and had them open a channel, and they're still live, right? Because they still continue to live on. So it was a really fun workshop. Okay, best way to fund Bitcoin development. This is from OT. Okay, what is the best way to fund Bitcoin development into the future? Give BTC to OpenSats or HRF to distribute. Look up devs working on projects you like and donate to their address. I would say yes to both, but probably not the question. Let's see what the people said. Let's see what the people said, and then I'll give my thoughts. Maybe I'll give my thoughts. I don't know. I don't know if I want to speak on this. There's been a lot of discussion lately about I don't even want to say discussion, maybe some conspiracy theories around funding and Bitcoin development, which is understandable. But okay, so Redentor, I'm probably messing that up. Value for value or paid services, LSP, CoinJoin, P2P coordinator, etc. Interesting. He points to paid services, and he's pointing to a different StackerNews post. What does this say? Services directory. Oh, he posted this. This directory indexes various kinds of Bitcoin-related services, mainly related to usability and privacy. This directory also includes miscellaneous projects related to Lightning, Liquid Cashew, Fedimints, and even Nostr. Super cool. Wow. Where was this posted? Bitcoin beginners. Nice curated list. Spending related services, internal liquidity providers. So it's not just exclusively paid services. Very cool though. Okay, so value for value or paid services. What developers accept value for value? I mean, like you can do it on Nostr. Like I post on Nostr. I post my workshops and stuff on Nostr, and people zap me sometimes. But there's not exactly a clear value for value pipeline for a lot of devs. But of course, paid services. So buy their products, hardware wallet, OpenDime, etc. Yeah. Direct zaps is greater than OpenSats or HRF. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so it's a good point. I mean, you can, a lot of these devs, they're on Nostr. You can just go and zap them, right? Or if they post about, hey, I just built this feature, like you can go zap them 100,000 sats and show them how much you appreciate it. That's cool. I would love, I mean, something that I was working on forever ago and I abandoned was Devster, where I was trying to do like a GitHub Nostr integrated platform. I did this last year for Hackathon with the legend Darren here from Plebdevs. And one of the coolest things there was a lot I wanted to do with this, and there's a lot to say about this project, but one of the cool things that I was seeing in this is the fact that I could be posting commits. I could be posting commits to Nostr, and people could be seeing those commits in their feed and zapping them, right? So you can zap the exact piece of code that someone creates, or a PR, something like that, a branch, and really show your appreciation for that exact thing. So I thought that was a really cool idea. So that's still something I would like to see for, when it comes to supporting, funding developers. But is this really funding though? This is kind of like tipping developers. I mean, it's very nice to receive tips, but being funded and being tipped is a very different thing. How about development on Core or Wallet? Core, if a direct zap is not possible, then zap them through OpenSats. A wallet, value for value, product, direct zaps, zap through OpenSats. Yeah. I mean, in general, like, I like OpenSats. I like HRF. Those are good, like, open funds that you can donate to. You've got Nostr and the value for value. You can donate directly through those means. But yeah, I mean, what other kind of rails would we want? Is there some sort of maybe peer-to-peer, like, dev list you could build to... I remember there was a, like, Bitcoin dev list... Bitcoin donation portal. So someone had built this before. It was kind of like, look, here's a list. All of these guys, some of these guys might not be the best at marketing themselves as Bitcoin core devs, but here's a full list of all of them on one page. It's probably not even all of them, but just a bunch of random Bitcoin devs that got added to this list. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's something you could do like that. Maybe a lister on Nostr, because you can make what's called a lister, which is just like a list event that lists out to a bunch of people, and you could have a big list of Bitcoin devs, and you could even do a zap split and zap all of them at once. So that's an idea, but good question. I don't buy into a lot of the conspiracies, I guess, that people feel about Bitcoin funding right now when it specifically comes to OpenSats and HRF. I have a lot of reasons to think that. I mean, a lot of them are just personal from the people I've interacted with, both of these places. But in general, yes, I think it's probably good to be skeptical about funding and where funding is coming from in Bitcoin. But in general, I think we're still early for funding devs, and the more that we can fund devs on Bitcoin, Lightning, the better. But thank you, OT, for the post. Good discussion. All right, are we ready to get into this next one? Comment. Okay, hey, I'm looking at your course, Plebdevs Course 2, building a Lightning Wallet backend, but I'm a senior front end with a nice knowledge on backend. Can I buy only the lessons 6 and 7? So actually, you can do that on Emeralize, emeralize.app. Let's see. I believe you can buy individual lessons. So if I go to Marketplace, that's Course 1, Plebdevs Course 2. Yeah, and then we have individual lessons. So it looks like you can buy them each individually. So you can do that, and I have private YouTube video links as well. So I mean, I will send them to you. You can DM me, and I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, I mean, if you have if you're like senior front end, there probably won't be a ton of new things in here. Yeah, so we learn Express, we talk about middleware, we've got authentication with JSON web tokens. This is the Lightning stuff where we're talking about like Lightning dev environment. We're setting up our Lightning dev environment and kind of some high level intro to the Lightning network. We talk about interfacing with LND. Yeah, then we get into database stuff. And then deployment. Deployment, I guess, is the other place where we just deploy with Voltage though. It's actually extremely easy, so you probably wouldn't need that one. So yeah, I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your money if not all of this is relevant to you. But yeah, if you feel like you're ready to jump into the backend stuff with Lightning, especially, check out the YouTube. A lot of my YouTube content is actually let's see, YouTube at Plebdevs. A lot of this stuff is actually kind of intermediate, because I guess I'm expecting, I guess a lot of these are for people that have some basic coding experience, and it's more of like, let's build a project that does this, let's build a project that does this. So building your first Lightning app is a good one. I mean, honestly, the one I did this past weekend is great. I definitely suggest using a MutinyNet Lightning node with Voltage. That's a great way to develop now. But yeah, and this one's also good. So 3 easy ways to interface with LND. I just kind of show you one way to set up a Lightning network environment, and then 3 different ways you can kind of talk to your Lightning node. So anyway, yeah, over answering the question there, but yeah, definitely. Thanks for checking it out. Okay, the big story of the week. I guess not the biggest big story, but one of them. Phoenix Wallet will be removed from US app stores on May 3rd. So it's 4 days away from now. This is from Cowboy. Thank you for posting, Cowboy. And yeah, this is the tweet. So May 3rd, 2024, Phoenix Wallet will be removed from US app stores. Users from the US should empty their wallets. Here's how to do it on Android and iOS. We highly recommend not force closing channels, as on-chain fees could be significant. Good suggestion. So yeah, obviously the big story for the week. Let's just look at the top stories for the week across the whole website and look at, yeah, right here. So we have Samurai Wallet founder arrested for money laundering. So this is kind of the root of where this came from. And so if you don't know, Samurai Wallet was a privacy-based Bitcoin wallet, and they specifically had a service they've been running for many years called Whirlpool, which is a CoinJoin implementation that has a central coordinator. It's basically a way to obfuscate the history of your Bitcoin transactions. And they're arrested for money laundering despite never being in control of user funds. And so this was a big move from the US government. I mean, before this, we had seen them go after another similar protocol, but one on Ethereum called Tornado Cash. And they arrested the founder of Tornado Cash. I think he's still in prison. So kind of a huge deal. You've got people writing open source software and running servers, literally not custodying anyone's funds, but they're being held responsible for money laundering. And so Phoenix, seeing this, they were like, you know, fuck this, we're out of here. We're not going to risk this. We don't need this. But I don't know. There's probably a lot to say here. There was actually a take on Twitter I saw that was really good on Phoenix specifically. It was about Phoenix, like Phoenix wallet. Okay, this is actually it. I found it. So Phoenix wallet withdrawing from US was actually a great way to put up a fight. Completely reduce company risk whilst making a lot of noise and setting an embarrassing precedent for the establishment. So that's a take. That is a take right there. Maybe true, maybe not true, but it kind of seems like this is our opportunity to be like, this, you know, this is unjust. We're going to set a crazy precedent and literally pull out of the US completely. Maybe they feel that they don't need U.S. markets for what they're doing, and clearly show that, like, look, you're already killing innovation here in the U.S. And now you have U.S. Like, how often do apps block the U.S., right? Like, usually U.S. is the place where, you know, you would expect to be able to download any app. So I guess that's kind of a take to see how, you know, they're protesting this a little bit. They might just be trying to cover their ass. But it's a big loss for us in the Lightning world because, you know, we're at a point now where after Phoenix, there's really two non-custodial Lightning wallets that don't require you to run a full node at home. And that is Zeus. Zeus has an option where they have like a node on the phone option. And then we've got Mutiny Wallet. So Zeus and Mutiny Wallet are all that's left. In the last 3 to 6 months, a lot of people have been pushing new users towards Phoenix. And this reason was, well, Phoenix has one of the best UXs in Lightning, but they're also non-custodial. They have great liquidity services. And they kind of set up their whole stack and their whole implementation to be able to serve customers easily, but help them deal with these biggest problems in Lightning, which is liquidity management. And then, of course, running a node. And so it's a real shame to see them leaving the US. But, you know, I think this is a fire and a driver for the Bitcoin builders and Lightning builders that are out there to serve the US customers and find a way to do it that is ethical for the end user, for as far as being, you know, non-custodial and having a good experience, hopefully. But then also will keep the government off their ass with money laundering or money transmission claims, stuff like that. So, yeah, and we don't have the whole MSB story in devs this week, but there's a lot I could say. There's a lot I could say about that. All right, let's see what the people say. The people are sad. The U.S. continues to decentralize Bitcoin. Yeah, this is true. I mean, really, as Bitcoin centralizes anywhere, the incumbent structure normally forces it out again, which is kind of a good thing. Keep the attacks going. That will only make us stronger. Maybe, or maybe we're going to get wrecked. So maybe we need more builders. No, my favorite wallet to learn, grow, and move somewhere else, I suppose. Yeah, this is a sad state. A lot of Lightning users that are maybe just experimenters and enthusiasts that don't run Lightning nodes. They're just having to jump from wallet to wallet. A lot of these people were using Wallet of Satoshi before, which is also another Lightning wallet that's gone. I mean, we've got Albi, which I still use here, but Albi now you need an invite code to sign up for their hosted node solution. And of course, you can connect your own node into Albi, but yeah, so things are getting a little tighter around here. But my perspective, I'm still here. I'm still going to be building. I still think that what we want is the number of devs going up, the number of people that can build on Bitcoin and build on Lightning increasing. That's my mission. That's all I want to see. And, you know, who's going to build the tools? Who's going to build the wallets? Who's going to write the code if it's not us? So that's my perspective, is just, you know, onward, carefully and cautiously. Okay, this was reading top dev stories last week. Legal primer for FOSS developers. Maybe this is a good transition from Siggy. I've been taking continuing legal education courses to maintain my law license. I started hunting around for courses on FOSS and came across this free PDF. Some devs might find it interesting to check out. So this is from softwarefreedom.org. It was put out by the Software Freedom Law Center. FOSSprimer.pdf. Definitely a lot here. Can we get ChatGPT to summarize this? Let's see. Summarize this in a few bullet points. This is a lot of text. It might be too much context. Let's see. That message is too long. Yeah. Oof. Okay, I have, let's use the other LLM. I've got Claude over here. I think it has a bigger context window. Let's find out. Can you summarize this in a few bullet points? And it should upload it. Yep. 1,875 lines. I love how I'm just, like, my requests are so unfair. I'm just giving this LLM like an 80-page legal document, and I'm like, hey, summarize it in a few bullet points for me. Okay, stop being lazy. But let's see what we got. So here are the key points. Copyright, choose an existing widely used open source license rather than writing your own. Okay, that's an easy one. Decide about what kind of open source license you have a process to manage copyrights. Consider forming legal entity like a nonprofit to provide liability protection and handle assets. Joining an existing umbrella organization is an alternative to incorporating independently. Patents, trademarks. If incorporating, choose a state. Assign governments, handle bookkeeping. Patents and trademarks. Yeah, okay. I'm actually not that interested in most of this stuff. Oh, okay. There you go. Thanks for sharing, Siggy. Thanks, Siggy. Software licensing is one of those topics devs have very strong opinions on. One of many, LOL. Yeah. For me, anything that's source viewable is that's pretty damn great. It only gets better from there. I mean, there's reasons why people do the what are they called? The licenses where it's open source. You can copy it, you just can't sell it. So, you know, people like to do those licenses. I don't have a problem with that, but, you know, whatever. State chains. Off-chain system for allowing a user to spend a UTXO to another user. So this is a link to Bitcoin ops on state chains. This is just a generic post on state chains from Roll. A few comments here. Interesting. I see some Darth coin, so that should be exciting. Okay, so state chains are a proposed off-chain system for allowing a user, such as Alice, to delegate the ability to spend a UTXO to another user, Bob. who can then further delegate the spinning authority to a third user, Carol. The off-chain delegation operations are all performed using signature adapters and the cooperation of a trusted third party who uses the L2 mechanism and their knowledge of every previous delegation operation to ensure each new delegation uses a state number higher than the previous used state number. These incrementing state numbers ensure an on-chain spin by the most recent delegate, Carol, can take precedent over spins by previous delegates, Alice and Bob, assuming the trusted third party has included the previous delegate to cheat. Wow. So this is basically a way of allowing users such as Alice to delegate the ability to spin UTXO to another user, Bob. So in the state chain proposal, the movement of funds are happening via these delegations, which are really just state updates. And these state updates are built in a chain that all rely on the previous one, I guess. So that seems to be how they're dealing with the chain, the deterministic chain of proofs that you can kind of trust. And then eventually, it ends up at Carol, and then Carol can finally hit the chain with this, and it'll execute all of the states that should have happened. This seems to be what's being said here. So signature adapters, or adapter signatures, rather. Okay, I don't want to look into this right now, actually. And the cooperation of a trusted third party who uses L2 mechanism and their knowledge of every previous delegation operation. So I guess this trusted third party is kind of like an oracle. I don't know where the L2 mechanism comes in here, but you basically need to have an oracle attest to the chain of delegations. Okay. Although initially described for use with Schnorr-based signature adapters, there's been work to adapt the protocol to ECDSA-based multi-signatures and to use a decrementing lock time similar to that proposed for duplex micropayment channels rather than L2. It was to make state chains usable on Bitcoin without depending on any proposed consensus changes. That's actually kind of crazy. I didn't know that they could do kind of a state chain implementation with multi-sig, ECDSA-based multi-sig. But okay, a lot of big brain ideas wrapped up in this proposal. But yeah, really just another proposal to allow Alice and Bob and Carol to send sats to each other trustlessly without hitting the chain. So I'm curious to see where this progresses. I guess Mercury Layer is one of the only projects using state chains. But okay. Cool, I guess somewhat simple explanation of state chains. I kind of understood it. Okay, Darth Coin says, okay, but where's my change from 100K UTXO if I have to pay 59K sats invoice? It was a rhetorical question, and no, I will not ask to that email. Okay, cool. Arguing. Okay, well, I guess that was a description of state chains. So, excuse to read it from roll. Hold invoices or LN invoices, and we've got managing data at scale. Okay, let's check these last two out real quick. So another Bitcoin ops. Hold invoices. I'll give you Fuse apps, but I don't feel like reading about hold invoices anymore. I'm gonna get triggered. Managing data at scale from ASIC. Modern web scale applications require specialized databases to handle massive amounts of data. Relational databases alone are often not enough. Analytical databases optimize complex queries across a large data set using column-oriented storage and aggregation. NoSQL databases provide flexibility beyond the tabular relational structure. Ironically enough, one of Mongo, my first job, they used was like this big AI startup with a ton of data, and they used Mongo for everything. And you would have queries. Sometimes I would be running queries that cost $5, and I would just know, like, this query probably costs $10 right here. but I mean, they didn't care. So yeah, I'm not super familiar with this kind of database scaling, but seems interesting. Okay, cool graphic. I don't feel like looking at it right now. But okay, thank you, Azik. All right, there we go. That is the top dev stories for the week. So not a ton this week, but definitely some interesting topics, interesting thoughts from the stackers as usual. So thank you for those that posted this week. And we're going to keep on rolling, keep on grinding as always. And I'll keep on showing up here on Monday and reading through the top dev stories. So thank you all for posting.